Let me know what the Oh, my mic gone off again. Right. This is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm thinking it's going to be like. Let me know from now. You can hear the music. That's good. That's because I enabled it this time. Last couple of streams I had it on. I was the only one listening. Right. There we go. How are we all doing? Just shout if the volumes have gone all a bit weird. I'm adjusting it. Isn't it bedtime yet? It could be. That depends where you're from. Please no music. I just want it to be in the background. I can turn it off if everyone wants to. It's not supposed to be like listening to music. It's just a general, like, I watched back one of the last live streams that I did and it was just me talking and it just seemed really dull. Not in the US. You are, yeah, you're behind us. I'll turn it down a bit more. It's almost midnight. I'm going to say then that you are... Oh, you must be like 2 hours ahead of me. Oh, where's that? That's not continental Europe. Where are you from then? Nice, good for ambience. I just wanted something there. Just wanted something. Something. I'm listening to it anyway. So last stream, I sprung on everyone. Just like this one, obviously. Couldn't possibly have a proper schedule, could I? Bulgaria? Aren't you only an hour ahead of us in the UK? Well, I suppose that's... I went skiing. I went snowboarding in Bulgaria. Not that long ago. Before COVID. It's a really good place. It's a good place to go snowboarding. West Europe. Isn't it only +1 though, compared to the UK? We're only 937. That would be 1037. Anyway, I hope you're all enjoying this, the sporadic stream schedule. And thanks for all tuning in. I really appreciate it. I'd really love to do this more often and more scheduled. It's just proving difficult at the moment. After the success of the last couple, where I had like 60 something viewers and like a really nice chat for an hour and a bit, which was I really enjoyed, and that's kind of really what I want to do. It's just been quite difficult to get that down. I don't know. I mean, I still work full time. I do YouTube the rest of the time. I freelance. I do everything. I have stuff other than that in my personal life to do. You have an interview in a week. That's really cool. What for? Let's talk about that. What for? What's the job role? Or as much as you want to tell us anyway. That's cool. US is 4:37 p.m. Exactly. Perfect. I have a lot of US colleagues. It's annoying because when I want to clock off and go do my own thing, they all pop online. They're like, hey, can you help me with this? Yeah, sure. But it's Friday night. It's all good. Plans for this stream. This is just going to be a chat. I want to move into live coding. However, honestly, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. A, anybody wants to see that. And B, well, I want to show everyone. My coding is basically just me staring at the screen, gormless, like this. When something doesn't work, I'm just like, that's not going to be interesting for anyone. You teach Python basics to beginners. I teach Python basics. You want to be stronger and become an expert. Oh, you teach... Okay, I understand. That's cool. To become an expert in Python, I think... I don't know. I don't think I'm an expert in Python, to be fair. I think the best thing is to understand how everything works together when it's within itself. So, like, when to use certain things. So, when to use a class, what that can do for you, and understanding all of those, like the dunder init methods and all of those sort of things. I'm really bad when it comes to all that stuff because I generally, although I do work as a programmer, kind of, I see myself more of a problem solver. So people come to me and they have a problem that they want solving, and I just figure out how to do it with code. I don't think I'm ever going to be overly total proficient in any language. I'm not an expert, honestly. I'm just a guy that's used it a lot, and I use it. The reason why I use Python is it's just so easy to use, and all that. Things just work for me in that respect. So it's pretty cool. Dunder methods always throw me. Yeah, me too. Often I find like, so this is a good learning thing. Like, I think you're doing well if you can find a solution to whatever problem that you're trying to do, whatever problem you're trying to solve. Like, even as simple as, oh, I just need to get this piece of text to look like this, or as far as I'm trying to get this system to work with this one properly. If you find a solution that works, you're doing well. An expert would be able to look at all of those solutions and go, this is the most efficient and the best one. And what's the video quality like, by the way, as well? I've been messing with my OBS settings. Decorators are a total mystery. Decorators, I love decorators. Yeah. Some people write amazing decorators. Oh, I mentioned this last stream, but Miguel Grimberg, who's like who I would consider the Flask guy, his decorators for his Flask API that he wrote, are just mind blowing. They're amazing. I'm just going to catch up on the chat real quick. So if you guys have just written a question, I'm going to get there after I check out this. Okay, it's all good. What's my profession? I work as a systems coordinator, essentially. I look after backend systems for our company. And within that, I use lots of Python to run scripts to do things for me, etc., etc. Mike, have you found that your side gigs tend to be one-off? No, actually. Most of the people that come to me is because it's interesting, actually. I'll talk about this for a minute. It's interesting because the people that ask me to help them, they know a bit already. So you either get two people, right? You get two types of clients. I don't know which is best. One where they don't know anything and they just say, hey, this is what I want. And you have to figure out how you're going to do that and how it's going to work. And quite often people have unrealistic expectations, which is fair enough. If you don't know anything about anything, if you don't know anything about the subject you're talking about, you can't really understand, you don't really get it. So like they get surprised when you might say, hey, this is a lot of work. Not a lot of work to write the code to get it. It's a lot of work to make it work at scale. Or you have people that are like, I can already do this, but I just need you to finish it off and flesh it out for me so I can get everything, because they work for a company and then they don't care. It's a small cost really for them. So hey Aiden, that's really cool. I'm really glad you liked that video. I know I'm going back up at the chat a little bit. So I made that video like over a year ago, right? And I felt like there was a little bit of a gap of knowledge. So there was people that knew all about websites and they just realized that that's how it all works. And then there was people that were trying to pull the information from the front end. So I made that video and I've made subsequent ones since that are very similar. But that one blew up about a month ago. It went from like 40k views to well over 200k views. I didn't do anything. It just happened. So I'm really glad that you watched that one recently, liked it, and are now here. So Aiden, thank you very much. That's really cool. Let me find some more questions. Hang on. I'll absolutely do my best to get everywhere, but give me a second. What do I do a profession? I answered that one. Saigo answered that one. Cool. You're a data engineer. That's cool. I'd love to have the time to work and do more with the data. Unfortunately, most of the stuff that I do involves just getting data rather than doing anything with it. What's your thinking process when you're trying to scrape a difficult website? Trying to avoid it. There's been so many websites that I've found that if you just load up one page and you look and you try and find that backend API, it's not there. And you click, what you want to do is just click around, just keep clicking around, go to different places, eventually it will show up, and then you want to reverse engineer it. So when it comes to reverse engineering an API, if you know how people build APIs, you can really figure it all out much easier, which is why I've put out a lot more API content recently, and I build APIs for a living anyway as well, so it helps. Has your coding journey taught you anything about yourself you didn't initially expect? Now that is a really cool question. Yeah, that I don't like learning, I hate working, and I'm really, really lazy. No, I knew that already. What didn't I know? For me, the main part was the problem solving part. As soon as I got competent in Python and I was happy that I could, in the little bit that I was working on, let's say just like that tiny little bit that I knew about where, like web stuff and kind of leading into scraping. As soon as I was competent in that, basically I found that it just unlocked a whole problem solving thing. And I always come back to that problem solving part, and that's what it is. It's working out how you can do something with the code that you know. And I found, to answer your question directly, I found that I really enjoyed figuring out how to solve those problems, which I didn't think I ever did. I still hate learning. I still don't like working. Well, no, working's all right. What else are you going to do? I used to play loads of games, but I can't do that anymore. It blows my brain out. Working's fine, so we're all good there. I'm here because of that vid too, Glenn. Thank you. It suggested you. Now that's really cool. I'm so happy you're here. I'm so happy you're here. Peaceful guy, hello, 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 hello. If you're using a microservices approach, is there any, or void your APIs being scraped? If you don't want your sites being scraped, then if just using any kind of the bot protection sites, I know you have to pay for them, but like the Cloudflare protection and the other one, I've forgotten what it's called. What it does is it just adds that extra barrier. It adds that in, so basically you just cut out a load of people that don't want to put the effort in, or not the effort, the money. So, but when it comes to building web applications, I like the microservices approach. I really do. I don't like the monolith stuff, which is ironic, really, because when it comes to building Python web apps, I usually lean on Django, but I only lean on Django because I want to get something up quick, and it writes most of it for you. Yeah, Cloudflare. What's the other one called? There's another one. I saw it the other day. I should know this, really. But yeah, no, I normally lean on Django, but I only lean on Django because I don't have to write anything to get it going. Like, I can get... So if I build something, let's say I'd build an API in a basic, like, admin panel kind of web app. All I'll do is I'll use DRF Django REST framework, and then I'll write the scrapers to just push the information into that. So if something changes on the website, I don't have to rewrite my app. I just have to rewrite my scraper and I'll just push it in. Helping a friend scraping Twitter using the API. When you say the API, do you mean the official Twitter API? That shouldn't change. I know it's got limitations. I know it's got limits. So here's my thoughts on if the website that I want the data from has an API of some description, even if it's limited, I'll still use it. Just because, and I know APIs change, but if they change the API that they're offering to developers, they're more obliged to tell you. Whereas if you try and pull the data from the front end, anything can change and it'll all just fall apart. So if you're having problems with the Twitter API, that's interesting. I haven't used that one for a while. I know you can scrape Twitter and you can pull the data that way, and people do it. There's lots of people do it for like beginner data science type projects. I'd still do the API. I'd still do the Twitter API. Can I make a project on it? I could do. So as far as 1 second, sorry. As far as videos coming up going, I want to try and make more engaging and interesting videos. So less like, ideally I'd want to do one code along with me video a week and one like something to do with it, more interesting type of video. Does that make sense? Because I just find that I'm going to be honest, there's a limited audience, right? There's a limited audience for code alongs, and there's a limited audience for web scraping as well. So, oh, my screensaver just kicked in. Hang on, let me just turn this off. There we go. So I want to try and balance the two. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to get that much content out recently, just because of the other commitments that I've got to do. It's just, I'll be honest with that. I have other things that I have to do that sometimes have to come in front of that. And also, I've had plenty of times where I put like tons of effort into a YouTube video and it's just done okay. So like, I don't want that to put me off, but I'm just being honest. Let me catch up with some. Hang on, I'm going to go back up. Let me go back up. How would you go about scraping one website, same product but different locations? Let's see one scrape Walmart make projects. Oh, right, okay. That's a difficult one. I've come across this quite a few times. That's a difficult one because you would hope that you would be able to write, you'd be able to like choose a selector that would work for every page, but quite often it doesn't for a few different reasons. So you don't have an awful lot of options because we need to pull the data from the specific selector. So that's what it comes down to is you pull the site down or whatever, you pull the page down, however you do that, and then you pass through the information. But if the information isn't structured, it becomes really difficult to actually then make something that's really widely available. So if we could do that, we could just write 10 lines of code and we could pull all the data we ever wanted from every site ever. So it's a bit more difficult. My best advice is to write it with the correct selectors if they're different, but put in some really good logging and say, look, if you don't get it, say, put something in that will say that you haven't found the selector or something. Or you could, if you think, oh, there's going to be this one or this one or this one, you could then just run like, try this one, try this one, try this one. Although this is the one thing I don't really like about Python that much. I don't like the try and accepts. I don't like them. But you know, what can you do? So yeah, there you go. I'm just reading some questions. Not sure what that question means. Any question that starts with, I want you to make videos, is always an interesting one. Everyone wants everything all the time. That's okay. I get it. I get it. I'm not sure what that means. I'll move on. Have you found a better option for Django for front end? Well, I wouldn't use Django for a front end. No, I would. Depends what you want. I would, if I can, I always avoid a JavaScript front end because I don't know JavaScript that well. And it's unnecessarily complex. The sites that I build are an API that does something that pulls data from one place and sends it to another, in which case all I need is a simple front end that basically just shows my client it did this. In which case, template views, 100%, no one gives a shit, honestly. The only time you need a Django is for a fancy kind of site, which your clients don't want. If they want a site that if they want a web app that's going to do something for them, they don't care what it looks like. Just use Bootstrap or Bloomer and get it done. They'll care that it works more than anything else. So, unless of course you're a front end dev, in which case make your sites do all the fancy stuff that you need. But that's not for me. Hello from Algeria. I know that was a while ago. Thank you very much. I really appreciate you being here. Have you tried Fast API? I have. I have. And my problem with Fast API is I like it, but I'm not quite sure why it's so popular. I know there's a team, but it's kind of just one guy doing his thing. It's built on top of Starlet, so why not just use Starlet? Who knew about Starlet before us? Did you know about Starlet before Fast API? Did you know that you needed that? Do you need an async? I think it's really good for unique cases. Otherwise, I just can't see why you wouldn't use Flask. Just because it's been around for so long. Every problem has been encountered and fixed. There's a million different plugins. Same with Django. That's why people use Django. It's not the fastest. It's got its own unique way of doing things. But you could, if you know how to, you can get a Django site up and running in like an hour. Done. How do you scrape Facebook Marketplace at scale? I generally don't. That's a good question. I don't tend to touch. I try and stay away from sites that rely on logins. Just because I don't know. I don't really like it because then it's tied to a user account, and I mean you absolutely can do. Your content is amazing always. It's not, but thank you very much. I've put out some howlers recently. Oh no, I'm a bit behind. I'm catching up. Last video's production was amazing. Hey, if you mean the video that no one watched and then I changed the title and thumbnail and then some people watched about the ORM, then thank you very much, Alexander. I put a lot of effort into that one. A lot more effort into some of the other ones. I didn't do very well. But thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoyed it. If it was that one. If it wasn't, then, well, you know, whatever. Maybe you can expand scraping tutorials into what you already do and show you how to move into Django versus Sheets. You mean Google Sheets? So I would always... Okay, so I'll speak a bit more... hang on, one sec. I'll speak a bit more on moving the data pipeline, I suppose. So what I would do is if I had data that I needed to present to a client, but it was coming from various different sources. So let's say that you need to pull data either from proper APIs or through other means that we obviously talk about on this channel, and you need it all to come in, and you want to present it in a certain way to your client. Let's say that maybe they want Google Sheets, or maybe they want a bit more something else. Whatever the output is, I would always construct my own central API, and I would generally use Django for that because of the reasons I mentioned already. It's super easy to set up. It has all the authentication. You just type in, was it like REST auth, alt auth, and something like that, and it gives you authentication. Much better than, like, you could spend hours learning and writing it. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't do that, because you probably should. But with Django, it just does it all for you. And that's why I like Django. I'm not saying Django is really, really good or fast, because it's not. But for these cases, it works really well. So what I would do, so I build my central Django API with the admin panel, and I would give them a login, and I would say, here's your admin login. But it would obviously not be admin login, but like, you know, here's your login. And you give them a nice table, a couple of tables, or maybe something else. If you wanted to. If you wanted to do nice tables within Django, look at Grid.js. It's really easy. It's basically your CDN or data tables. Data tables or Grid.js. One of the two makes you nice tables from your API. Really, really easy. And from there, what you can do is you can then structure your data and you push it in from all your different sources into your own API, into your own database. So then you can then choose how you display that or what you do with that data. So you pull it in, and then what's really good about that is because if, let's say, one of your sources of data changes or something doesn't work, you can have decent logging or some alerts. You can say, oh, this isn't working now. So all you got to do is rewrite that tiny little bit. That's like the microservices part. You need to write that tiny little bit to push that data back in, or you choose a different source, still goes into the same place, still comes out the same way. And that's what I like, and that's how I kind of do it. So I've rambled on about that a lot. I missed a load of questions. Let's go. Crypto, don't know anything about crypto. I don't want to give people financial advice. That's what I don't like about the crypto people. Not that I'm saying that it's bad or it's good. I just try and stay away from the financial part, because I don't want to promise someone, I don't want to go like, hey, we can pull this data from this crypto site, and then people think, oh, that's great, and then, you know, think they can do it. And I don't like, I'm not about that. You want to do crypto, that's all cool. I want to teach you all the methods of how you can do things, so you can go, hey, which one of these methods that I know will work best for me? That's what I think. RS, recognize your name. You've been around a bit. I'm glad you're enjoying the Q&A session. Do you code in any other languages? I'm a bit behind, apologies. Yeah, Go. I use Go. Go's great. I love Go. I wish I knew Go as well as I did Python. CSS selectors versus XPath. I base everything on CSS selectors. I don't know XPath that well. Apparently it's really good, and it's just as good, if not better. But I use CSS selectors. That's my preference. Any books with web scraping? I don't think there are any. I should really write one, but writing a book is really hard. I don't know if anyone's ever tried to write a book. It's really difficult. But I find 10-minute YouTube videos hard enough. I'd love to do a course, but I would just be worried that the course would be, 10 YouTube videos stuck together, which just sounds awful to me. When I was learning, I did loads of not loads. I did some paid video courses, and I was just so underwhelmed by them. It just put me off. I have done some good ones. I will say that. I have done some good ones. Where can you get customers? I love this question. It's really hard. Honestly, a lot of my customers come from because I have a YouTube channel. I'm not going to lie. That's where it comes from. Because they can see what I can do before. So they know that they're like, this is what I do. It's just the way that it is. Because if you don't have, and it's like this YouTube channel is basically like my portfolio in that respect. Although, when it comes down to consistency, the YouTube it is better in some respects. But it's like my portfolio. So people see it and they know exactly what I can do straight away. So it just makes it easier, and I think it makes people feel better. Whereas if you were just walking down the street in your town and someone came up to you and said, hey, I can do this for you, you'd be like, no thanks. And you'd go and then talk to someone, and your mate would go, I know a guy who can do this, and he'll do it. That's the sort of thing. It's tough. I don't like it, but it is the way it is. Web scraping is not great for freelance, but the skills that you learn through web scraping translate really well. And that's kind of my main thing. Do you have any projects that you've worked on that you feel more proud of? Yeah, I've got some ones that I'm really proud of. I think I can't really go into too much detail. Async scrapers that have pulled a shitload of data consistently. Although I don't, yeah, that one. And I've also built some pretty cool API integrations, which is really cool. I like. You can use Fast API because of Pydantic. I know I'm a bit behind. I'm staring at the middle of my screen, right here. I'm staring at the middle. I'm gonna get there. Honestly, I promise you. I'll get to the questions. I like to waffle on about some subjects. Pydantic's cool. I love Pydantic. I don't use it as much as I should do. Do you know what? Every time I think I should use Pydantic more is when I'm working in Go and you have to use structs with types. That's when I'm like, this makes sense. I should use Pydantic more in my main, but I don't. Is it possible to grab a URL from the headers? No, because the headers are more specific data. Unless it's in there, which it won't be, you can grab it. But one thing I like to use headers for is quite often when you're working with APIs that have rate limits, they often send rate limits back in the headers and you can use it. I'm going to put out a video as soon as I can be asked to make it. It's one of my, I say that, as soon as I get round to making it, there's hooks and stuff that you can use in requests that I think a lot of people ignore, that are really good for that sort of thing. We'll get there, but going back to the YouTube thing, that video becomes quite niche, so it's a lot of effort for very little views, but I want to put it out so the people that do follow me can get that information, so it will come. Have you done a video when using async and hitting API? No, I haven't, Bradley. No, I haven't. And it's a very, very real thing. There is a couple of packages that you can use to rate limit your API requests, which is pretty cool. Which it's on my list of things to do. Again, falls under the thing of hard work, niche, low views, but I want to get it out. Can you use Django and React to create? You can use Django and React to create anything and everything, and it will scale brilliantly, unless you're trying to make Google, in which case 1 billion requests in a day or whatever will probably kill it. apart from that, Django and React will serve you really, really well. I don't know React though, so I can't comment on that. I do know Django, and I think it's great. If you don't know Django or any kind of web application framework for Python, unless you're hellbent and you're like, I'm just going to do Django because I'm going to get a Django job, I'd recommend Flask first because that's what I did. But I feel like if you learn Flask through some really good tutorials and making some projects, you kind of understand how it all works better. So when you go to Django, you're like, okay, this is this bit, this is this bit, this is this bit. It kind of falls into place. Might not work for you that way. That's how it worked for me. I think people like Fast API because of its native async support. Yeah. Everyone thinks they need async. Do you? How do you know? I'd like to see some data, which I don't have, which I'd like to see, of Python web applications that do X amount of requests per hour or per day, and see how many would benefit from async. And also, if you want async and Python framework, I mean, Starlet is what Fast API is built on. Stanic is amazing as well. It's got its own actual web server. I'm going to have a Stanic video coming out because I was just really, really impressed with how cool it was. I should make a Discord server. It's coming. The Discord server's coming. I need to get my ass in gear and make a post and ask for help, basically, because I can't run the Discord server by myself. So what I think I'll do is I was going to do it at 25k subs and go, hey, so here's the Discord, and then I've gone past that. So yeah, it's coming. I'm really behind because I've just seen someone responding about my data tables comment. That was like 5 minutes ago. I'm really sorry, guys, but I hope you're all going to stick around and listen to me. I will get to them. I'm literally going down them like they were a list. Discord server is coming. I'm going to put up a post soon asking for help for people to help me run it. I'm not sure how that's going to work, but it will work, and we should create a cool community there. That's the plan. You're a Rails dev, Mike? Yep. Django pretty similar. Django is extremely similar to Rails. I think Django was built based on someone who had used Rails. People use Rails a lot still. I actually when I started learning programming ages ago in school, and I hated it because I hated learning. Since then, I tried Rails. I wanted to learn how to make web applications, so I tried to learn Rails. Not saying that Rails is hard, it just didn't stick for me. And then I gave it a year or so, and I learned Python. I loved it. Either way, Rails is cool. Pay someone to write the book. Do you need a job, Eric? You can write the book for me. Just put my name on it. You can do all the work. I'll take all the credit. Is there a syncing issue? Oh, is there? Let me know if there's audio visual issue on the stream. I'm not sure that there should be. If there is, let me know. What are the basics that a person needs to know in order to grow to get a job as a back-end developer? Look into your portfolio. Will need to have hang on, is there a syncing issue? Hang on. Oh, I don't know. I'm going to turn the music down a second. I don't think I've had syncing problems. I can't really tell. I have to have a delay on between my voice and the video. Oh, that's not good. Right, I've changed it a bit. I don't know if that's going to be better or not. Is it really bad? Sorry. I'll have to, I've got my OBS set up to record and I have separate audio video, so it's probably that. If it's really bad, just people shout and I'll try and do something about it. If you can live with it until the next time round, I'll just carry on and I'll try and fix it next time. Views data tables, a lot of work. Yep. Good. Um, 5-second delay. 5-second delay. No syncing issue. When I say syncing issue, I mean sound to my lips, basically. All right, I'm just going to carry on and we'll go from there. Cool. Trying to get a job as a backend developer. API concepts. Build more than just your standard CRUD API in your portfolio. Build it in a few different frameworks and technologies, I suppose. 2 or 3 seconds. Wow, that's not good, is it? Right, I'll make one change. It's supposed to be a high quality stream. Looks good to me. Right, okay. I'm just going to carry on and then I'll try and fix it for next time. What I'll do is, I'm quite far through this stream now, so the next one at the beginning, I'll just basically try and get it sorted. I think I can see it on my my OBS now. Yeah, I can. I don't know why that's happening. I don't want to stop stream. I don't want to stop the stream. Sorry. We'll get there. I'll get it sorted. It doesn't look that great actually on my. Okay. Raymond, yes, thank you. I saw your Patreon pop up on my phone. Thank you very much for joining me. I really appreciate that. I'm glad you're enjoying the videos. I'm going to reply to you very shortly. I'll get back to you on but thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Threadpool Executor is not bad. Yes, Threadpool Executor is very good. I've done that plenty of times. Just makes it a bit easier. It's not async though. But you got to be careful. I don't know. It's all it comes down to what you're trying to achieve and how you're going to get there. Miguel Grimberg's, yeah, I mentioned him a few times. If you want to learn Flask, he's the guy. He's in the nicest way possible, not the most enigmatic, but he knows his stuff and he will cover as much of it as possible. So I learned a lot of Flask stuff from him when I was learning years ago. Assembly and Pascal. I learned Pascal. That's cool. I say learned Pascal. I did it. I built some like rubbish CRUD app. Rubbish. I've got it somewhere, I think. Still on a flash drive. Wish I hadn't bothered. Have you ever found a common element in most sites which could have projects or job posts? No, you see, the thing is, thank you. I really appreciate the very kind comments. The thing is that it's all custom, and that's where people want it. You'll get common sort of requests. A lot of the common ones are like supermarkets, because that's where the price comparisons come in. Things like that, but it's all custom built basically. It has to be, really, and that's why, because if it wasn't, people could just easily do it. And this is the problem with trying to get jobs as web scraping, because at the low hanging part, anyone can really do it, which means that you get lots of competition. I wouldn't recommend it for like a main source of income, but for being able to do it every now and again, I think it's great. And also for people that are learning, it's a really good beginner project or intermediate project, because it just has so much scope to sort of scale and test your knowledge, really. That's why I like it. Right, I think I've got... Oh, the... Yeah. Graph data. Depends. I try not... If I get asked any more than, can you show me the data, and they want something really, really specific, I tend to try to, say that you need someone else to visualize it. I'm more specialized in getting data and putting it together. So ETL, extract, transform, and load, rather than analytics. However, Streamlit is a really cool Python like web library that makes it really easy to learn how to make. It works all off pandas data frames to make like really cool stuff that and that's what clients love, that shit, when you can show them something that looks really cool. So like, picture this, right? You're pulling X amount of different bits of data into the API that you've built. Let's say that you built it on Rails or Django or Fast API, it doesn't matter which. You can then expose the endpoint, you can expose some part of your own API that you can then write a Streamlit application. That's, however, you could, and then show it to people, show it to your client like once a week or something, or however, or whatever, and you can like just put it online or offline or whatever, and you can have it update, so you can then pull the data from your own API so it's reliable, because you've done all the input stuff at the start, which is what we've been talking about, and then you can actually show it visually, even if all you're doing is just showing like a little graph or some tables or something like that. And that's more interesting because people like that stuff, because they think that it's really good. And Streamlit's really powerful. You can do so much stuff with Streamlit. I think the first time I came across Streamlit was I was listening to Talk Python with Michael Kennedy. I listened to that for years. And it really piqued my interest, because it had some guy who was, I think it was NASCAR. Anyway, he was a data analyst for the NASCAR, so he pulled all the data from all the sensors that were on the car, pulled it all into his own program, and then he used Streamlit to show it to his managers to like summarize it, and that was really cool. So I would reckon that's what I would do, and I have done that, but just on a much smaller scale. If you want to share the data via CSV, yeah, I do that a lot. I have an email address and I just run the email script. All I do is like dump all the data. It depends. If you've got an app, you can do it through the application. You might as well do. There's loads of cool stuff with Django, like Mailgun, that you can have X amount. I think you have X amount of emails free. You just have to sign up. So if you've only got one client running on that thing, it's pretty much free, so you can just get it to email them. Django has a really cool thing like Django cron as well, which you can run parts of the code, the scripts on a cron job through Django, or you can put them into the management commands. I would only do that for certain things, small things, not bigger things. Like if you're trying to pull data, don't put them in there. I'd put them externally. It's easier to change them around. Have you found any real clever ways that a site has obfuscated their data? Actually, no. The data protection, odd way of saying it, is almost always Cloudflare. whatever the other one's called. I think it starts with an A. That's basically what it becomes. Obfuscation is not really worth it because it's so easy to break. I did a video on some JavaScript obfuscation that I found, which I thought was really interesting, but it was pointless because like I broke it in like a minute and it was all over the internet and it was just basic obfuscation. It's not really worth it. Just put it out there or don't, I suppose. It's funny, I got a comment, I don't know if anyone, I don't know, you probably guys didn't see it, because obviously you don't see all my comments, but someone was saying that the scraping is the same as stealing people's content. I was like, oh, one of those. I was like, okay. So if you read a magazine and you quote part of it to your friend, is that stealing the content? Stealing the content is taking something in its entirety and passing it off as your own. It's not taking data and using it. And because even on YouTube, you can upload like parts of songs, parts of videos, parts of films. If you have your own commentary, it's not theft. Anyway, I've gone off on a tangent. Don't know how that happened. Which performs better in putting data requests? Sorry, they both do the same thing. It just depends on how you want to use it. Have I checked out HTTPX? Same question. Yes, I have. I really like HTTPX. I do, but I don't actually do a lot of async. I do a lot less because I don't really need it a lot of the time. I like async mostly when I have one script controlling pulling data from lots of different URLs. So if I'm pulling it from 100 URLs, I don't want to go through the first one, the second one. I'll async it all. HTTPX is great for that. AIO HTTP, mouthful, is also good. HTTPX is cool because you can just use it. You can just drop it in and it works the same syntax as in the way as request does. They're interchangeable to me. They perform the same task, which is the first part, just getting the data. Use whichever you feel more comfortable with. How long did it take me to master web scraping? I don't know. I'm still trying to master it. I still come across things like, mostly it's an arms race. And there are loads of people out there that are much better at it than I am. But it becomes an arms race. It becomes, do you want to pay enough to get this data regularly? Because that's what it is. Because people that put Cloudflare protection or the other one, what's the other one called? I'm sure it begins with A. I can't remember. It costs them money. So it's like, it's going to cost you money to break it. Pretty much how it is. Anyway. Sometimes you need to reverse engineer their API. Yeah. Oh, I think I'm jumping in the middle of a conversation there. But you're absolutely right. What about just copying and pasting? Exactly. Yeah. I mean, how cool would that be if my YouTube channel was like how to get all the data from Indeed, and I sat there and I was like, copy this job, paste. You see, this is a title. Let's copy and paste this into the title. It would be easier. I'm not sure it would be interesting though. Have you built an API that serves scraped or crawled data from multiple sources? Yes. That's basically exactly what I was just talking about. I build a central API that I put all the data into. I build separate scrapers or crawlers for each site, so I can control them individually. So if something changes, I only need to build that. And my central API takes the data in a structured format. So I build my scrapers to do that, and I just push them all in there, save it all in my own database. Is it possible to scrape JavaScript loads on? I don't. Text-only mode. Not entirely sure what that is. I'll have to have a look. I think I'm even more out of sync now. Oh, that's not good. Oh, that's annoying. Right, we're coming up to about an hour. I think that's pretty good going. I reckon another 5 or 6 minutes. And we'll go from, and I think I'll probably head off from there. Is there anything that you guys in here that you are specifically interested in? What I really want to know is what if I stopped making, what if I made less web scraping content and more different but related content? Cotrix, hey man, how's it going? I'm good. Thanks for stopping by, man. Appreciate it. I've enjoyed this one. Less people. I've enjoyed it. I really like these chats. I really do. I say this at the end of every single one as well. I'll try and do more. I'll say that at the end of every one as well. Oh. There's a text-only mode library. Oh, is there? Oh, I don't know about that. What is it? Do you store the script data in a database? Yes. Yep. Unless, of course, it's just like, you know, one and done type thing. Makes sense. Generally, yes. Running a database is super easy now. Even locally even on SQLite locally, or I wouldn't use SQLite if you're gonna expand or give anyone else access. I would always use Postgres. What's your favorite pizza topping? Everything. Chuck me a load of vegetables on there, a load of chicken, ham, all that stuff. No pineapple though. I love it when you're doing these chats. Yeah, no, I like it. I like it. I like to live stream. I really want to build up to live streaming code, but that's just a whole different, to be kettle of fish, to be extremely English in that respect. I think I'd panic. I'm not like these other guys that, you know, they know it all in and out and they just sit there and just code just rolls off their fingers and they're like, oh, that doesn't work, but I know why. This is all good. Honestly, if something doesn't work, I have to look it up. Just like everyone else. It's good though. It's repetition. You just have to keep doing it. Right, so next, the next videos that are coming up, I'll give you guys a bit of an insight. Is we've got building a basic price comparison API, and I'm going to use Sanic, and I'll explain in the video why I like Sanic and why I used it. But I probably won't make that a code along because I don't think it'll be that interesting. I want to make it more like why I did what I did rather than anything else. So there's that. And then the next one, these aren't in order, is using requests, but putting in extra things, putting in more advanced things like you can use the hooks and you can use like the headers. You can use not just adding headers in, but you can attach them to the session, and using retries in the session as well, which I thought was really cool. So that'll come. What else did I have down? I have a list of like 1 million things. And I just constantly add and constantly go back and I go, no, that's a shit idea. I'm not doing that. No one's going to watch that one. Or that's way too much work. It's not worth it. That sort of thing. I'd love to do more. I really want to do more. I don't know if any of you guys watched my ORM video on Tortoise. That came about because I used it and I thought it was really cool. So I wanted to sort of make a video on it. But those sorts of videos take a bit more effort to make. And it's not always as well watched, which is okay. I get that. It's really hard. You get pigeonholed in YouTube. I had to do a bit of googling. I know. I had to do some JavaScript the other week, and that was a nightmare. I googled more than I actually. The whole thing at the end was literally like hardly any lines of code, but I had to Google so much because I just don't know it. I'm like, this. Why doesn't this work? This looks like it should work to me, but it's not. But it doesn't. So I have to try and figure it out. And that's why I stay away from JavaScript. In Python, I'd have gone, this is why this doesn't work. What's the answer? Or in Go. I like Go. Learned so much from my scripting. Thank you, man. I really appreciate that. I'm really glad that you guys are actually like watching them and like learning from them. And that's the main thing for me. That's the main thing. I mean, I'm so pleased that like people actually care and want to learn from it. Because I know what it's like. I know what it's like. People, you want to learn something, or you want to try and figure out how to do something, and it's difficult. And at the very beginning of your learning journey, watching a video and hearing someone talk about it and explain what they've done is so much easier than anything else. Once you get beyond that, honestly, I think the documentation, if there's good official documentation, that's always the best way. And sometimes I actually prefer written content as well, which is why I want to move into. So I've got so many ideas and so many things I want to do. I just don't have time. Like, I want to make 2 videos a week. Don't have time. I just don't have time for that. I want to make my own web scraping playground so I can give you guys all a site to practice everything on, like, because then it doesn't change. Like I say, even to start with, it's just going to be like HTML selectors, right? Well, that's what I want to build. So I can say, like, because everyone goes to the books to scrape, and it's just boring after a while because every example's got it. So I want to build like a site that's got 2 or 3 different like examples, but that are different and challenging, which I'd love to do, and I really want to do it. And I also want to I need to build up my own portfolio because it's lacking and there's nothing on there really. Because, I've got to get hired at some point. Or at least, get hired, get more work so I can quit my 9 to 5. And I also want to make written content to back up my videos. So I've got the domain. I've got well, like everyone else, I've got like 1 million domains. I want to build like a text base that goes with every video. Here's more like not a complete written transcript, but like an overview of a written version. So you like the idea being that every video comes with this post, and you can say, all right, cool, I've watched the video, I want to learn a bit more, I want to understand a bit more, I can click on this, I can watch this. Or you go, actually, I want to see or people can come in the other way and see it and read the written bit and then want to watch the video. That's further down my list. What is it about Go that you like? It's completely different to Python. It's the polar opposite so far that I've noticed. It's obviously it's compiled, it's type enforced, whatever the word that I'm looking for is. You have to have types for everything. The way they handle errors is a pain in the ass, but I really like. And if you go on the Go forums and you're like, I want to build a web API, everyone tells that you're an idiot if you want to use a framework, and you should build it with the standard library. And that's just the polar opposite to Python, which I think is why I like Go. Are you into machine learning? No. I honestly, like, fair play to those guys and girls that do that, but it's just beyond me. I just like too much. Yeah. Right, so those are my rough plans. I am promising you a Discord server. Honestly, I will get there. Everyone will use Docs or Stack Overflow. Yeah, Stack Overflow is good, but it's also not that good. And also, learning how to figure it out and do it. That's the hard part, right? Because if you don't know enough, you can't figure it out because you don't know enough. So do you then have to go backwards a bit and go, right, I don't know enough to be here? Or do you just copy and paste something that works and then figure it out from there? Two sides of a coin. I'm not sure which is best. Are you likely to use HTTPX? Used it. It's great. I'm stuck in requests. Honestly, HTTPX is fantastic. If you like it, use it, definitely. Would you consider down the line starting an open source project with viewers to give them a chance to learn and work with you? I've never considered that. When you say project, what do you mean? Like, also, I'm worried that my viewers probably know more than me in some respects. Can you get any consequences for storing scraped data? Depends what data you're pulling. No. If my general rule is that if it's free and open on a website, you don't have to use a login to get there. Anyone could employ 100 people, 1,000 people to go through the whole site, copy and paste those data and save it. So it's the same thing. If it's behind a login, it's slightly different because when you sign up, there'll be a terms and conditions. So no login, we're all good. You have a pretty interesting channel, mate. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that you enjoy it. Why don't you try OpenAI Beta to build your stuff? I'll have to look into that. I could do. I have lots of plans. Hopefully one day soon I'll have enough time to build them all. Or, yeah, someone else can build them for me. What is iffy? It's whether it's login or you break capture. Yeah. Capture less so, because capture's just a check, right? It's just a check. It doesn't mean anything. You don't agree to anything when you break a capture. When you sign up to a service, you agree to their terms and service. So they technically could have you in that respect. But if you sign up for a service and you're pulling data for your own personal usage, I don't see any problem. You're like, hey, I just wanted an easier way to get my own data. Is that a problem? But if you pull everyone, if you start using loads of different accounts and pulling all sorts of different data and selling it on, you're gonna have a problem. But if there's no login, it's all free and open. Go for it. Just don't it. People always talk about, right? So people talk about like abusing the website and DDoS attacks and stuff, and it's like, if you're not educated in how a DDoS works, but you know a little bit about requests, yeah, I get it. There's such a difference. There's such a difference. The company work for will never break. Okay, that's fair enough. I respect that. I respect that. I break captures sometimes just because some websites show you them all the time and it's a pain in the ass. I go on websites on myself on my Firefox where I'm logged in and I get a capture and I'm just like, come on, it's annoying. I lost my train of thought then. Maybe it'll come back to me. I see you play guitar. I do. All of them. That's the bike. The guitars are the other side. What about robots.txt? Yeah, it's fine. It's not an agreement. It's just a suggestion. That's like saying. Actually, no, that's not a good analogy. That's like, I don't know. I can't think of a good example. But if a text file puts you off, then what's to say that? You know, you go to anywhere and you see like a piece of paper on the floor that says "Don't do this," and you're like, "Well, I did it. Too late." That's a really bad example, actually. No, don't ignore the robot text. Every scrapey project I do, I just turn it to false straight away. What's the best plugin to break capture? You have to use the capture breaking services. You have to pay for it. That's just the way that it is. There's no point in messing around otherwise. It's just the easiest way. I hate it, but it is what it is. Cloudflare is a pain in the ass. Cloudflare is a pain in the ass, and that's the arms race. That's what I was mentioned earlier. I don't know if you were here. You know, people pay to have Cloudflare on their site, so you have to pay to get past it, and that's kind of just the way that it is, really. Which is better in scraping multiple sites, Futures or Async? For not getting IP banned. It doesn't matter which you use. The IP ban will come from the server. If you're doing multiple different sites, as in lots of different servers, Async's better because it's working more efficiently. Futures, I think it's still threaded. What type of music? Guitar. I listen to generally metalcore, thrash metal, stuff like that. Although I don't play my guitars anymore, really. Hardly ever. Airplane mode on your phone is a great rotating proxy. Is it? Does that change the IP? 4G proxies are the way to go, though, apparently. I've used a few. I tend to use just the service that will do them. Because every time... Oh, no, it will be, because I think when you reconnect to 4G, you get a new IP. Well, that's another thing I was going to do, actually. I was going to do a live stream where we check out one of those, like, paid API proxy services. Yeah, it does. I thought so. You're absolutely right. Shit, I can't remember what it was called. But you know, one of those ones where you pay per requests and you send them the site and they send you back. I thought I'd give that a go. I've not used one really before, so I thought I'd do that on a live stream. But again, that involves me, you know, doing some stuff other than talking. I was a bit worried. We'll give it a go, I reckon. Do you know Sum 41? Yeah, I grew up around that era, although I didn't listen to Sum 41. I grew up on Linkin Park, that sort of stuff. That's how old I am. Cool. So this has been really cool. I've enjoyed this one. This has been really good. Thank you everyone for about using a VON. Do you mean VPN? I use a VPN, but most of the IPs are data center IPs. They're already blocked by a lot of sites. Pain. You can use it. I do use my VPN sometimes if I accidentally get my... if I'm testing on a site, as in I'm just working out what I'm doing and where I'm at, I use my VPN just in case you get the IP ban, you switch to another one. Dealing with a lot of scraping sites where I find pagination, well, they all work in different ways. It's just finding the best way to work with it. Either follow the page, follow the next page button until it doesn't exist, work through the pages with a range, stuff like that. Yeah, man. All sorts of. I grew up on nu metal, man. I know it sucks, but it is what it is. That was my era. Right, I really have to go for a wee now, so I have to go. But I really enjoyed this one. I will come back again in the week. Probably spring it on you guys and just see who's about. Maybe I'll get a schedule sorted. Probably not soon. Yeah, that Discord server, which is coming. I'll make a post about it. So if anyone fancies helping me with a Discord server, then watch out for the community post and stick your name. Let me know, and I'm more than happy. I'd love help, basically, because I won't be able to do it myself. Because if I try and do it myself, it'll be so dead, and I don't want that. I don't want to have a dead Discord server with my name against it. That's the point. But yeah, cool. Right, I'm going. Thank you very much for watching. Really appreciate it. Thank you everyone for hanging out and asking all the cool questions. There have been some really cool ones tonight. Some that I've answered before, but I absolutely don't mind answering them again. Always sparks a conversation. And some brand new ones, which is really cool. So thank you very much. Really appreciate you guys sticking around and watching. And enjoy the videos. Make sure you keep watching them. And I'll stream again soon. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.